All right. Hans Themistode, FightHype.com. Here with Breadman, my guy. How you feeling, man?
Good, good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I ain't speak to you since like a day before the Super Bowl. Give you your credit. You got it right. Go. Gotta make sure we shout you out for that.
Mhm.
But all right, man. Just crazy knockout by AJ yesterday. Before getting your thoughts on how the knockout went, what were your thoughts going into the fight? How did you think it was gonna play out?
I thought AJ would win. I predicted he would win, but I didn't see that. That was knockout of the year so far. I mean, it's still early, but that was a nasty knockout.
Were you surprised at how easily he made it look, only from the standpoint of, I mean, I watch a lot of MMA and Francis never gets buzzed, like never gets hurt, never gets rocked, and nothing like that. Don't matter what you hit him with. So was it surprising to see like just how easily Joshua was able to like get him out of there?
Um, any man that get hit clean like that with by a big man can get hurt.
Yeah.
Uh, it wasn't surprising that he got hurt because if you notice, all heavyweights get hurt and go down. It's not one top heavyweight that we don't see that get buzzed. Even the ones with good chins, you're gonna get hurt. You know what I mean? Like the guys are just too big. It surprised me how early he got to him. Not so much that he got to him, but just how early. Like he caught his timing very very early. And when a guy hits you, usually the reflexes are a little bit reactive early. And when a big puncher can hit you with clean shots like that early in the fight, is usually going to be a problem for you.
How much how much credit does Joshua deserve for that type of performance? A lot of people are kind of saying like, "Oh, he's the best heavyweight in the world. He's, redeemed boxing." Like, how much credit does he deserve for that?
I think he deserves a lot of credit. I wouldn't say he can't be the best heavyweight in the world when he lost to Usyk twice,
Yeah.
but he's definitely a top guy. He's definitely in the top two or three. He's definitely has a excellent resume. You know, you can only fight the people in your era, and his resume is probably the top out of the top guys, like out of Usyk, Fury, Wilder, and Joshua. If you look fighter for fighter and when they fought him, Joshua's resume is probably the top one. You know what I mean? So he definitely deserves credit. There seems to be this internal war between boxing and MMA. And MMA, struck a severe blow when Tyson Fury, I mean, what word could I use? Underperformed versus Ngannou.
Yeah.
So Joshua kind of like, he got that back for boxing. It's not like Ali beating Foreman, but I mean it's a big win. And listen, like they that's part of the science of matchmaking. Ngannou gave Fury life and death. He knocked him down. A lot of people thought he won. So Joshua said, "Okay, I'll fight him now, and let me see how I could do against him." That happens all the time in boxing, where you see a guy wasn't expecting to win the fight, then he gets a big fight with a big name because of that performance. We've seen it. I don't even need the name.
Yeah.
So many scenarios where that happens. So that's all Joshua did was said, "Let me see if I can outperform Fury versus this guy." So he deserves props. That's a strong guy, and that dude went 10 rounds with Fury and knocked him down. So he definitely deserves his props for the victory.
The only one I would push back and say he definitely deserves to be in there also is Joseph Parker in terms of like resume. He's been like racking up really
Yeah,
good.
he's fought some good guys, but I respect Parker's resume, but it's a little bit different when you're on the B side. When
Okay.
you're the A side fighter and you taking fights, tough fights like that, you got more of a choice. You got more latitude. You got more the
Uh,
ability to pick and choose. That's
gotcha.
one thing that people don't realize about boxing is when you're vulnerable and you coming on the B side, your resume gonna look great
Mm,
because everybody wants to fight the person that looks a little bit vulnerable. But when you are the A side, Joshua is the biggest moneymaker around, and you taking them kind of fights, undefeated Dillian White, undefeated Joseph Parker, undefeated Charles Martin, undefeated Dominic Brazil, like Klitschko, Usyk undefeated twice. He fought some fights, you know what I mean? I try to be objective with that. A lot of people, they criticize Anthony Joshua, and he probably may deserve some criticism with some of his performances. But in terms of who he's fought and who he's willing to fight, his resume is really good. So you gotta get a guy props. You can only fight the fighters that are available to you.
Does does this say more so about because you're more of a boxing historian than me. Does it say more so about like Tyson Fury? Like, maybe he wasn't really training properly and Fury not Fury, Frank just had a great night, and then all of a sudden, everybody thinks he's great. WBC puts him in the top 10. So does it say a lot about Fury? Like, man, you like damn near lost. And Joshua kind of showed this guy don't deserve to be in here.
Um, that's one of the reasons I don't want to criticize Fury, but that's one of the reasons why I picked Joshua to win the fight because I felt like if Fury probably wasn't all the way locked in with his training. He's been known to get real heavy. I think it was reported 400 pounds. It's hard to do cardio if you're 400 pounds. You know what I mean? So they say he gets really, really big, and he kind of has like that kind of personality where he's kind of carefree sometimes, and that's what happens. But that's on him. I'm not going to take away from Ngannou's. People have a way of doing that. Like a guy shows up unprepared, and then they want to like discredit what the opponent did. If Fury didn't respect the mantle that he has as being a lineal and ring heavyweight champion of the world and what he's representing every time he get in the ring, then that's being unprofessional on his part. So do I think that he came in a little out of shape? He probably did. And more so, not just out of shape, just like mentally not locked in. Like this dude's an MMA guy. When I hit him on his chin, I'm gonna smoke him. He don't know enough about boxing to deal with me. And sometimes complacency, you look up and then the other guys start gaining some confidence, and then now you're dealing with a different animal on your hands.
Yeah.
So it's good to be confident, but it's not good to be complacent. There's a fine line. Anthony Joshua has the type of personality where everybody has a flaw. Joshua seems to be an overthinker. He seemed to be a guy that was going through a lot mentally. Well, he don't seem like the kind of guy that's ever going to take anybody lightly. He don't have that in his personality, where he's not going to take you lightly because he's so like you know entrenched in being good. So there's a pro and con to all different types of mental makeups. But I think Fury probably did play around and not take the guy so serious. But that's on him. He almost got his ass knocked out because of that.
Yeah.
You got to take every man serious that get in the ring with you. So, again, you got to give Anthony Joshua props for being more professional
Mm.
because it's not easy to get through an 8-week camp with a guy that you don't think highly of. But that's part of being a professional. That's part of being humble, saying any given day somebody can beat me. This is a humbling sport, and it takes humility to train hard in your heart of hearts if you think that the guy is not on your level.
Got it.
Anthony Joshua outperformed Tyson Fury, and it just is what it is. And if Tyson Fury wasn't, it's never an excuse not to be prepared. It's just not. You can be injured, you can have an off night, but to not be prepared is never an excuse. So um, Joshua deserves full credit for being a more professional fighter.
Gotcha. Gotta shift gears because a lot of stuff been happening over like the the last few days, man. Officially, no more rumors. Officially, Canelo is fighting Munguia, May 4th. What are your thoughts on that fight? I mean, we all wanted the Benavidez fight, but what do you think about the Munguia fight though?
Munguia's been looking good lately,
Hmm.
so he's going to be real busy and throw a lot of punches, and he's been given every opportunity to improve and get better. He's been active. He hasn't had to take any fights where he's over his head. He's been a big favorite in all of his fights. and he's being able to progressively get better without taking any tricky styles or causing him a loss or, you know, to lose his confidence. So I expect a competitive fight. I think Canelo should win. Canelo's the better fighter, but it comes down to can you get up for every fight? Canelo is like what like 60 something fights in his career. You know,
Or
I'm sure it's over 60 fights.
yeah,
So
60.
eventually, it's mentally just getting up for camp. I mean, he's been special, as far in terms of like whenever we see him fight, he usually gives a good show. But getting up for each person, that's a task once you get to a certain age of your career. So Munguia, this is his Super Bowl. This is the moment where he's been building, 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 and this is finally his super fight to beat the Mexican icon. So he's gonna put everything into this fight, sort of like Ngannou did with Tyson Fury. With Canelo, this just a guy to him.
Mm.
Canelo's done this 30 times in his career. This is just a guy. He's been on the big stage on HBO fighting pay-per-view fights, Showtime fighting pay-per-view fights, The Zone fighting pay-per-view fights ever since he was like 20 years old. So um, that's the challenge for Canelo to be able to get up and come out as sharp the way he did for Jamel Charlo. We can't see the Canelo that fought John Ryder. There's
Mm.
got to be the Canelo that fought Jamel Charlo. This has to be the Canelo that um, unified the super middleweight division with his performances against Smith and Plant and Sanders. He has to be on that level to win this fight. He can't. Canelo looked a little bit lackluster, in my opinion, against John Ryder and Triple G. He looked like, he just, it's hard to get up for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Triple G, the third fight.
Yeah.
So he gonna have to be up for this kid, or this kid's gonna outwork him.
Is it, do you expect the activity, not the actual fights that he's been getting into, but the activity level of like his punch output of Munguia to Bardem. A lot of people say that it's like the punch output of Benavidez. There's just so much. Like he just throws so many punches, and Munguia doesn't throw quite as many, and he's not nearly as creative. But that dude throws a lot of punches. Do you think that's like what's the percentage you would give Munguia to win that fight?
I like the fight 65% Canelo, 35% Munguia.
Mm.
Munguia got a real chance to win, but he's not as good as David Benavidez, let's be honest.
Hmm.
He's not as creative, he's not as fast, he's not as powerful. David Benavidez is a better offensive fighter, and he's a better defensive fighter. So with Benavidez, you got to be careful when he's opening up because he'll counterpunch you. Munguia, if Canelo is completely 100% locked in and right, Munguia leaves a lot of holes to be countered, and he's easier to hit. Um, I mean, that's why he got picked. Let's be honest. He ain't as good as David Benavidez, but he is a good fighter. But I think that he has a lot of holes as far as when he's punching Canelo. If Canelo's right, he could sit there and catch and counter that and hit him with some big shots. Whereas Benavidez, he's not as easy to counter as Munguia is. But if Munguia's chin is on the level and he's very, very determined, then it's a possibility he can outwork Canelo because he's a much more active fighter. But the thing is can he hold up? Can he take those punches and not, get knocked out? Because Canelo's a big puncher.
Do you think he'll end up stopping Munguia?
Um, let me see how they look in camps. If Canelo's the Canelo that fought Jamel Charlo, he I think he would. I
Mm.
think the only reason why Charlo didn't get stopped is because he started moving and disengaging. If he would have brought it and stood there, Canelo had that look that night. He was super sharp. He was super powerful. He was real strong. He had a look that night like, yo, I'm not playing with him. But there was a little bit of history with him and the Charlos. They had been calling him out for some time.
Yeah.
So you could tell he was real motivated to fight Jamel. Um, if he's in that form, I think he'll stop Munguia because Munguia is a more offensive fighter than Charlo. But I don't know. Like people always forget, like one good performance can make people forget things. But I thought Canelo struggled a little bit in the third Triple G fight and against John Ryder. I thought he looked a little bit funny, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So um, we got to see the kind of shape he can get in and get ready for this kid. I think Canelo will fight Benavidez. I do. I just think that he knows how hard of a fight it is, and he probably wants to make that like his last fight. Like, because I don't think Canelo will be the same after dealing with that kid jumping on him like that. You
Mhm.
know, he's a lot bigger, throws all those punches. Benavidez is going to be crazy that night. I mean, he's going to be on fire going after Canelo, and Canelo is going to have to turn him back. And Canelo is ballsy. He got guts. He's
Yeah.
going to be fighting that big dude off of him, and it's going to be just a brutal war. And I think that he knows that, and he knows Triple G wasn't the same after they wars. So he like, man, I can't. I got to be careful. Like, like. I think that Canelo will fight him, but I think Canelo wants that to be his last fight. I don't think he wants to go on with his career and have to go through another training camp after having to spend so much of himself to keep that guy off of him. Because fights like that take a lot out of you,
Mhm.
and Canelo knows that. You know, he definitely knows what he's getting into, and I don't think he fears Benavidez. I just think it's a thing of like, I gotta be careful if I fight this kid right now because this is a death match. It's the kind of match where you like questioning how much you love this game. When you're making 50, 30, 40, $50 million a fight, man, you know what I mean? It's like, man, do I gotta go through all of that? Because I'm already making it with other guys. I'm not justifying it, but that's the
Yeah.
dilemma that you go through in boxing.
But then again, maybe he'll decide it's not his last match if, you know, Be- um Benavidez goes up to 75. Now he got to make that weight cut to 68, or maybe he fight better BM take something out of him.
Listen, he might want to see a little wear and tear get put on Benavidez.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of conversations that go on behind the scenes that the media don't realize. So he might want to see some wear and tear get put on him. There's a difference between a 20, what's Benavidez, 26,
26. Yep.
27. All right. Well, there's a difference between a 27-year-old kid, you know, with 20 something fights than a 33-year-old guy with 60 something fights. There's just a difference.
Hmm.
See it in the gym, take longer to get in shape. Trust me, there is a difference. So, you know, he may want to see that. And I understand it. I get it. You know, he definitely may want to see that. Why you think people don't want to fight Boots Ennis? There's a reason. There's a reason for everything, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. And fighters, a lot of times, they don't want to fight guys that are not in their age category or in the era category because they know there's a different amount of wear and tear on them than it is the younger guy that's coming up from behind them that's fresh and reflexes and everything is all reactive and twitchy. There's just a difference.